Israel has launched a significant military offensive against Hamas forces in Rafah, Gaza's southernmost city. Israeli troops have seized control of a crucial border crossing, effectively halting most aid into the territory. This operation comes just a day before scheduled indirect talks on a potential ceasefire deal. Visuals released by the Israel forces show a tank hoisting large Israeli flags as they advance through the area, even crushing a concrete sign that reads, "I love Gaza." International powers, including the US, Israel's staunchest ally, repeatedly warned Israel against a major military operation in Rafah, where more than 1 million people displaced from elsewhere in Gaza are sheltering. Aid agencies have predicted a humanitarian catastrophe.
I made today a very strong appeal to the government of Israel and to the leadership of the Hamas in order to go an extra mile to materialize an agreement that is absolutely vital. This is an opportunity that cannot be missed, and a ground invasion in Rafah would be intolerable because of its devastating humanitarian consequences and because of its destabilizing impact in the region.
Israel's steadfast ally, US President Joe Biden, has joined the call for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to pursue a ceasefire with Hamas, emphasizing the need to safeguard the lives of Israeli hostages in Gaza. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean underscored the US's unwavering stance, expressing concerns over the Israeli offensive in Rafah, where over 1 million Palestinians seek refuge.
The Israeli government has spoken to this, so obviously they can speak to their operations. They said it was limited. This was about making sure that designated cut of Hamas, of their ability to smuggle weapons, smuggle funds, and it was a limited operation. Again, I would let them speak for themselves. And what I will say is we have been very clear from here about our concerns about a major operations. We have been very clear from here about protecting civilians. There are more than 1 million civilians that is in Rafah, a dense populated area in Rafah, more than 1 million, and we want to make sure that there are no civilian casualties here.
Interestingly, US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller characterized the Israeli operation in Rafah as a limited endeavor.
So a couple things that we have seen over the past 24 hours. So obviously there was the operation that they launched overnight last night to take control of Rafah Gate. They have described that as a limited operation. It appears to be, at least that piece, a limited operation at this time. They have also, as we discussed yesterday, ordered the evacuation of some 100,000 people in neighborhoods in Rafah. This military operation that they launched last night was targeted just to Rafah Gate. It wasn't an operation in these civilian areas that they had ordered to be evacuated. We will continue to make clear that we oppose a major military operation in Rafah, make that clear then privately as well as publicly.
So, but your sense of this is that this is not yet, the Israelis have not yet, at least not yet, overstepped what you have warned them against doing.
This appears to be a limited operation, but of course much of that depends on what comes next. They have said, I think quite clearly, it's no secret that they want to conduct a major military operation there. We have made clear that we oppose such an operation. And separately, but of course it's related, we are trying to achieve an agreement that would bring an immediate ceasefire and the release of hostages.
And on that, how's that going?
Negotiations are ongoing in Cairo today. We continue to believe that there is space to reach a deal, and we are trying incredibly hard to push one over the line.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak also voiced concern.
I've been very consistent that we are concerned, deeply concerned, about the prospect of a military incursion into Rafah, given the number of civilians that are sheltering there and the importance of that crossing for aid. I've made those points repeatedly to Prime Minister Netanyahu. The priority right now should be on all parties, but particularly Hamas, to agree to a deal, to release hostages and allow more aid to go in as part of a temporary pause, which will allow us to build a sustainable ceasefire. That's the best way to end the suffering, and that's what I'll continue to call on all parties to do.
While UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy called upon Israel to halt the ground assault, warning of catastrophic consequences, Qatar, playing a pivotal role as a mediator, has warned that the military offensive could derail ongoing efforts to broker a ceasefire.
I have cautioned, and we will still caution, that any attack on Rafah will make the humanitarian situation considerably worse and will result in atrocities that have not been seen before in this terrible crisis with the number of unbelievable atrocities that have taken.
Jordan's King Abdullah II called for urgent international intervention to avert a new humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The Egyptian Foreign Ministry has issued a plea to Israel, urging restraint and emphasizing the need to prevent further escalation. Echoing similar concerns, Saudi Arabia issued a stern warning against what Saudi officials describe as a systematic campaign to penetrate Gaza and displace its residents. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesperson also vehemently denounced the assault on the Rafah border area. Belgian Deputy Prime Minister Petra de Sutter affirmed Belgium's commitment to ending the atrocities in Gaza and continuing to advocate for the recognition of the State of Palestine and its full UN membership. Australian MP Gabrielle de Vitry has sharply criticised the global failure to prevent what she describes as Israel's genocide, facilitated by government's inaction in the face of the assault on 1.5 million Palestinians trapped in Rafah. Joining the chorus, Canadian MP Heather McPherson urged the Canadian government to take immediate action to save lives.
Will be catastrophic. Over 1 million people, half of them children, have no safe place to go. In Gaza, there's famine in the north and bombing in the south. This escalation threatens the safety of both Israelis and Palestinians. The Liberals should be doing everything to protect innocent civilians, and this includes the hostages. Where are the promised sanctions on extremist settlers? Where are the two-way arms embargo? Why won't the minister do what she promised and act to save lives?
Meanwhile, former Spanish Minister of Human Rights Ione Belarra has strongly denounced what she terms as Israel's brutal attack on Rafah.
Queremos denunciar el brutal ataque que Israel ha cometido esta noche contra Rafah, en la Franja de Gaza, que es el último lugar que les queda a los palestinos y las palestinas de la Franja para refugiarse. Recordemos que Israel ha convertido la Franja de Gaza en una cárcel a cielo abierto, no hay dónde ir, y esta noche Israel ha bombardeado una vez más este lugar lleno de personas civiles, cientos de miles de personas que no tienen a dónde ir. A nosotras nos parece que se terminan las palabras y que es necesario pasar a los hechos. Si el señor Sánchez y el resto de líderes europeos no hacen nada, no acuerdan de una vez por todas romper relaciones diplomáticas y no acuerdan un embargo total de armas, nos están escribiendo el nombre de nuestro país en una de las páginas más crueles y más de vergüenza de la historia de la humanidad. Nos parece que no hacer nada no es una opción, porque no hacer nada es ser cómplices del genocidio en este momento. Así que desde aquí queríamos reiterar una vez más al Gobierno de España que haga algo, que haga alguna acción concreta para pararle los pies a Netanyahu y que rompa relaciones diplomáticas como ha hecho el Gobierno digno de Colombia en los últimos días.
Expressing solidarity, French parliamentarian Clémence Guet stands with the civilian population in Rafah, echoing the international community's call for urgent measures to resolve the crisis.
La création de milliers de familles, des dénonciations qui ont été unanimes, notamment de la part du Haut Commissariat à l'ONU, qui a jugé ce traitement inhumain et contraire aux principes fondamentaux du droit international. Un mot aussi du chef de la diplomatie de l'Union européenne, et nous déplorons aujourd'hui l'enlisement des négociations et cette offensive imminente, et nous réitérons la demande d'un cessez-le-feu immédiat que nous avons fait de nombreuses fois. Nous appelons aussi à nouveau Emmanuel Macron à agir unilatéralement, notamment, nous l'avons déjà dit, mais en demandant un embargo sur les ventes d'armes à Israël et la reconnaissance de l'État de Palestine, alors que tant de morts auraient pu être évitées. Et donc nous réitérons formellement cet appel ce matin, évidemment dans la gravité du moment que sont en train de vivre les Palestiniens et Palestiniennes. Nous saluons cet engagement de la jeunesse et nous réaffirmons notre sidération parfois face à des évacuations qui sont violentes et à une répression extrêmement forte de ces mobilisations qui s'inscrit dans un contexte plus large qui nous inquiète énormément, de censure. Et notamment, vous avez suivi la convocation de notre présidente de groupe Mathilde Panot la semaine dernière et de Rima Hassan. Nous leur redisons évidemment notre soutien dans un contexte d'interdiction des conférences que nous pouvons organiser pour le cessez-le-feu, dans un contexte aussi inquiétant sur le service public, et je pense notamment à la mise à pied de Guillaume Meurice, dont la liberté d'expression est aujourd'hui entravée, alors même que cette affaire avait été portée devant la justice suite à une plainte.
Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar also voiced profound concern over Israel's relentless military offensive against Palestinians. He urged member states of the organization Organization of Islamic Cooperation to unite in efforts to secure an immediate ceasefire and provide crucial humanitarian assistance to Gaza.